One. Hi everyone, my name's Aditi.
And I'm Mega,
And
and today we're going to be talking about women's art history and a little bit about the history of women's art and do a cubism activity at the end.
but before we get started, we'll talk a little bit about ourselves. We're a part of Project Cultural Canvas, an initiative alongside the Attorney General's Office and the Division of Civil Rights. We're trying to eliminate bias throughout the state of New Jersey by spreading diversity through art. So, learning more about art and being active in different kinds of art and learning more about how different minority groups have contributed to art will help us reduce bias and make sure that there's no hate in the Garden State. So,
Yeah.
we're just going to get started really quick.
And for our campaign, what we're doing is we have a social media. It's culturalcanvas.nj, and we've been doing, various posts on different artists, and we've been doing art workshops like what you're here for today. And we're hoping to have an art auction. The date's still tentative, but if anyone's open to donating art, we have a website that's linked to our Instagram, and we're going to be trying to auction off the art and donate the proceeds to Rise Against Hate, which is a nonprofit that helps fight against bias and discrimination, which is exactly what we're trying to eliminate through our initiative.
Okay, so here's a little bit more about what we're going to do today. So, we're going to learn about, first, we're going to talk about some history. We're going to learn about prominent female artists over the years. And when we're talking about that, we're going to take some extra time to recognize the struggles that women as a minority group have had to experience in order to be recognized in art. Then we're going to hear about some new and current artists.
Oh
And
wait,
afterwards, we're going to have a cubism
this
activity.
the screen is frozen. Is it supposed to be on like the slide?
Yes. Oh, sorry, it says screen sharing is paused. Hmm. Let me see if you can you guys still see my screen now?
I can see it, but it's frozen, I think.
What is it frozen on?
It's just like
The
the first
title
slide.
slide.
Ah, wonderful. How's
Okay,
that?
that's good.
It's working now.
Perfect. Um, okay. So,
Okay, so the first woman, she's typically regarded by Europeans and Americans as the first woman of art. She's Lavinia Fontana, and she was an artist from 1552 to 1614, so way back in history. So uh, Fontana's fame, she started off as a portrait artist and created portraits of a lot of significant figures during her time period, which kind of started her rise to fame. And then she moved to Rome. There, she continued her portraits and she even painted the court of Pope Volpi and a lot of other people who were well regarded at the time. At this time, there weren't a lot of women artists. I mean, she was regarded as one of the first, so she was a standout in the portraitist industry for her gorgeous art. On the left, you can see there is Portrait of a Noblewoman and the Holy Family, and these are some well-known pieces that she's made way back in the 16th century.
okay, so before we get into today's activity, I want to take a little bit to talk about some new and current artists, and then we can talk a bit more about what all of these artists as women, had to go through. So the first artist I want to talk about is Sasha Gordon. Sasha Gordon is a little bit more of a modern artist compared to the 1600s, like we just talked about. So Sasha Gordon does mainly self-portraitism, and in her portraits, she explores things like identity and her art is all very introspective. She's had a lot of exhibits in places like the Contemporary Art Institute in Miami and the Jewish Museum in New York. And as recently as last year, 2024, she joined the David Zwirner Gallery. So she's very prominent in the art world. Another artist, prominent women artist right now is Okuda. She's a Spanish artist and she does something really interesting because she blends digital art and traditional art. Traditional art is the style that we kind of just saw, something from a while ago, right? It incorporates things from a lot of different periods in history, whereas digital art makes use of things like maybe your iPad or laptops, and it uses the tools online to create art with pixels, which are a form of digital measurement. So Okuda's art blends these two and it explores meaning and human conflict. So I'd also like to talk about Julie Marudu and her paintings, and she does prints too. They have architecture and geography integrated into them. So it has the elements of like globalization and movement and history, all things that are prominent in art, but she blends them in a new and upcoming way. So as women, this is one of the minority groups. Like last workshop we had, we talked about Black artists in America and the struggle they had to go through. Women weren't often given the same opportunities as men were in order to succeed. What happened was that women often had to stay at home and take care of their families, or if they did want to pursue art, they simply weren't given the materials needed, or they weren't able to go to things like workshops or work and things like Lavina's time. They weren't allowed to work with other more prominent artists in the area, and therefore they just didn't have the means to achieve upwards mobility in the field of art. So to reach the status like the modern artists we just talked about and Fontana, it took a lot of effort. So recognizing that and understanding that is what's going to help us reduce the bias against women artists in New Jersey. So now we can go into Cubism is a big field in which women artists have had a lot of success. So that's what we're going to do today. I'll let Mega take it away from here.
Yeah, so Cubism is a well-known form of art, and second. So on the slide here, you see some common examples, and today's activity is pretty simple. You can just pull up, a photo online or look at a guide on how to draw something from Cubism, and then we're just going to share the art at the end, maybe have a discussion about it. But yeah, that's our activity for today.
These are some things that you might need. We suggest that maybe you draw a picture of an important woman in your life, or a famous woman artist. So, we'll take probably about 10 minutes to do that right now, and we'll come back at the end. I will be working on my art.
Okay, we can all come back now. And I'm sure you guys probably might not be done with your art, and that's completely fine. You can, feel free to work on it afterwards, whatever. Um, but I'll share mine. This is, I don't know if you can see it well.
Wow.
It's oh wait, let me put up maybe I'll show them. And it's Lavinia.
That
So
looks really good.
I looked at one of the portraiture of her and I just drew from the heart. It's definitely not the best piece ever, but I thought it was fun to draw because I was very like creative and free flowing.
Um, I guess I can go. I drew two things. I might only show. Okay, this is this is Mega.
It's so true to life.
Yeah, that's kind of the comedy behind it. So, I also I tried to draw a cubism dog.
I I see the dog. Yeah.
Um, remember, art is for all levels and all skill sets.
If anyone else wants to share, feel free, but if not, that's totally fine. Um, and yeah, we're gonna have our or not first, we're gonna have our next Zoom workshop on the Aditi, what was it, the second?
April 2nd
Yeah, April
at
2nd, and
3:30.
we're gonna be having a guest artist for that one. She owns her own, I think, gallery, and
She
we're
has some
gonna
really cool stuff. She does a lot of
yeah.
abstract art, so that's most likely what we will be talking about there. So be there or be square. Cubism joke.
And then we're also doing an in-person meeting at the Plainsboro Public Library on the I think 16th. All of this is on of April. All of this is on our website and
And
we're
our
posting
Instagram.
reminders on Instagram, yeah. But
So make sure if you guys have time to stop by the in-person workshops at the Plainsboro Public Library. We have a lot of fun there.
yeah, I
It's a
personally I
great
like to in
facility.
person a lot more because we actually like have all the materials there. It's like a nice
It's a
large
hands-on thing. We can help you guys.
yeah, and we also give the presentation like what we did today, but it's a lot more interactive.
So thank you so much for coming today. We hope to see you guys next week and at some of our in-person workshops. And don't forget to share your art with us and let us know if you have any questions.
Mhm.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.